Hello, this is Alex with GrowHow. Today we are putting on just a single drip line to that little green plant you see right where my shadow's pointing. At the ground chair, I was hoping to take some water from the valve box that leaks. It's not a very good valve box, but it's not really getting enough, so I'm going to go ahead to add a 1 gallon dripper, which will be probably more than sufficient for that plant. I'm kind of hoping for a lot of growth, so I'm going with what I think it's going to need ultimately rather than what it needs now. In addition to that, I'm going to use my distribution tubing down here. This is the Orbit distribution tubing, which I don't like because it's just not very secure, but I've got a lot of it, so I'm going to use it, and I'll probably have to replace it. I'll use a single barb. This again is the Orbit brand. The barbs aren't too bad, although that sharp tip doesn't go in very well. And instead of using a tool, I'm going to use my screw, because it really works really well. We're going to start over on this other side where the actual 1/2 inch distribution tubing is. And here we go at the distribution tubing. Now, I say distribution tubing, this is just getting from point A to point B, or from point A to point B, C, D, and E, but it doesn't actually have any emitters. I have to add all those myself or add another product. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here and I'm going to use a screw to put a hole in my distribution tubing. Now, you've got to be careful with that because you can go all the way through, like I did in one of my recent videos. It didn't leak, but it was very close, and I'll have to keep an eye on it. And the cheaper the distribution tubing, the easier that is. One thing I like about this is I can kind of just get a prick in it and then screw it in. And I'm going to take this piece right here, and it's just got barbs at each end, and it's just a connector. See how I was squeezing down on this? That widens the tubing, so that pokey end isn't as likely to go through on the far end. Then I'm going to take my 1/4 inch distribution tubing, also known as spaghetti tubing. I'm just going to finish plugging that in. And again, I'm going to press down on this so that barb doesn't hit the far end and cause me problems. Now I'm going to run that tubing to my plant. As I do that, I'm going to keep aware that a little bit of extra tubing goes a long way for preventing problems. And then I'll go ahead and I'll cut it. Now, I used a tool that's made for cutting tubing. It's actually made for cutting PVC pipe, so it might even be overkill. It's what I have. It's in my sprinkler kit. It's available, but I could have used a knife or scissors or something else. Now, this is just a 1 gallon emitter. It's got a controlled rate, so I can say that if I have 1 hour of water on, I'll get about 1 hour on that plant, or 1 gallon. It's actually a 0.9 gallon to be official. It's in metric, so it's not exactly a gallon, but it's close enough. And then I'm just going to set that there. Now, you notice there's too much spring left in the pipe from the curls. That will relax as it heats up, but for now, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to kind of straighten all that out, and I'm going to secure it in place with a landscape staple. And of course, with my rocky soil, what am I doing? I'm hitting rocks. It doesn't need to be totally secure, it just needs to be in the spot where that water will hit the plant. It's a simple fix when you're adding a plant and your drip doesn't run to that area. Again, a reminder, when you're running drip, you're running it for at least an hour, hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours, depending on how you've got things set up. If you're running it 15 minutes a day, you're not effectively watering. Catch y'all later. Manana.